What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down some routes that wide receivers should never run. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it could teach you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you are a wide receiver and you want to get better route running, better press releases, you want to improve your hands, and you want a daily workout schedule to follow to improve all of those things, check out that very first link in the description below for our 28-day on-field wide receiver workout plan. It's over 100 plus drills broken down to a daily schedule for you with sets, reps, and an example of each drill. So check out that very first link in the description below if you'd like some more information. Let's get started with this video. So now, first thing I want to discuss here is realistic routes. One of the things that wide receivers love to do, especially in a setting like this, because it's the time of year, right? Guys are starting to get ready for camps. Guys are going to different college camps, starting in probably the spring. You got all these showcases, combines, 7-on-7. Guys run a lot of realistic routes, and I'm going to tell you this right now. That serves you no benefit. So let's play this example full speed one time. So this wide receiver is running, I want to say it's a whip route because that's what it looks like, but it's a very long route. Like this is probably like a 4 or 5 second route just based on how many moves that he took. Now, fellas, what's the offseason for? The offseason is to get better, right? So many people buy into the hype, buy into the scams that, oh, if I go to this showcase camp or if I go to this 7-on-7 team, I'm going to get offers, I'm going to get noticed, I'm going to get all this exposure. Fellas, if you don't have the skills to back it up on Friday nights when the pads come on, none of that stuff matters. I could be the greatest 7-on-7 wide receiver, one-on-ones wide receiver of all time in the history of the world. But when I put the pads on and I can't do the exact same thing and replicate it because I haven't been working on realistic things, I'm not going to be able to play at the next level. You have to work on realistic things in the offseason that will actually apply to the real season. Do you ever see NFL wide receivers running routes like this, where they give a way long move inside, work a diamond release, and then whip it back out? And does it take that long? No, it doesn't take that long. And I'm not trying to knock this wide receiver because, believe me, he's not the only one that does this kind of thing. But, fellas, you guys have to understand that we don't need to do the fancy stuff. Sometimes a $10 move is not necessary. When a $5 move will get the job done. We just need to get the job done, need to get separation, and need to keep timing with my quarterback. Because think about what one-on-ones are. What is it? It's man-on-man coverage. It's one-on-one, right? Normally when you get man coverage, especially at the high school level, especially at the youth level, what's the quarterback probably getting? He's probably getting pressure, right? Because why would a defense play, like, let's say, for example, it's coverage like 2-man, where you got 2 safeties over the top, both playing like center fielders back there, and then everybody underneath is man coverage. And they're only bringing maybe 4 guys blitzing the quarterback when the quarterback has 6 guys to block. Let's say it's a 2-by-2 formation. DBs in high school are not that good at coverage to be able to run that coverage. So usually when you see press man in high school, quarterback's getting a blitz. It's either cover 1, cover 0, they're bringing pressure. So do you have time to do this kind of move? No, you don't. We need to keep things realistic. Now, I'm not saying to change the route, but what this wide receiver does, like, why work inside, then work outside, then whip back out? Like, let's just attack his outside shoulder. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just do a diamond release. Let's try to get him to flip his hips, then run the whip route and get out of the break fast. You cut down a move, you increase the speed of the route, and that is what keeps the route realistic. Now, I don't blame this wide receiver. I blame everybody that's on their camera phone and nobody is actually coaching back here, which is the whole point of doing anything in the offseason is to actually get coached and to actually get better. But nobody cares about that. Everybody cares about the hype. Everybody, oh, the exposure. I'm going to put this cool video on YouTube. I'm going to put this cool video on my Instagram to show that I was here. Nobody's coaching and nobody's getting anybody any better. Fellas, you got to make sure that this offseason you use your time wisely. You have a limited offseason because think about it. What are we in right now? It's about to be the new year, about to be January, right? You got probably until March or April, then spring ball starts if you're in high school, and then you're right into summer ball. The season is right around the corner. So you need to maximize the time that you spent not doing stuff like this that is going to not get you a lick better. So let's play this full speed. Again, I don't mean to knock this wide receiver. I'm a little hard on this wide receiver with this clip, but there are plenty of people. I have seen worse. Believe me, I have seen worse. Now, this kind of setting right here with these wide receivers, this is exactly the kind of work that I like, right? You're out there with your quarterback. You're working on good habits. I love it. But when it comes to the routes that you run out here, you have to make sure that you are keeping certain things in mind. So I don't know these kids. I don't know where they're from. I don't know anything. They could be watching this video right now. I don't know. But the main thing is that when you're out here in a setting like this training, you have to understand to make your routes as game realistic as possible. Now, again, when you don't have a coach out there to tell you these kind of things, I get it. This is the lonely work. This is the stuff that you guys have to do to get better, though. And that's why I highly recommend taking the advice that I give you in these videos that are all free. The YouTube videos are all completely free where I tell you guys how to do this stuff. Now, watch what this wide receiver does on this route. He's working a dig route. Right before the break, he raises his pad level and kind of beats the drum. Now, this is something that you want to try to avoid at all costs while you are training, because this is one of the key things that you need to emphasize if you're working on your route running. You know, a lot of times wide receivers will ask me, hey, coach, what do I do if I don't have a quarterback to throw to me? Work on your route running. You know, but nobody said that you have to have a quarterback to throw to you to be able to work drills, to be able to work routes. You just have to emphasize the details while you're working out. So on every single route, especially like a route where you got to break down, and it's like a 10-yard route, this is 10 yards away. What am I trying to make the DB think I'm doing? I'm trying to make him think I'm running a fade, right? So what goes into selling a fade? You have to make sure that you're running hard. You have to make sure that you're running in full stride and that you have good body language off the line, or throughout the route, I should say. So you see this wide receiver, he's got good body language. He came off the ball fast, but right before the break, he has something called an indicator where his pad level straightens out, his stride starts to shorten, and he starts to slow down. All three of those things we cannot do because that is what will get us locked up. So when you guys are training, when you guys are going through your route tree, throwing with the quarterback, you know, you're working a post, you're working a curl, you're working a dig like this. Those are the three main keys that I would say every wide receiver needs to emphasize this offseason when working on their routes, right? Because you are doing the right things. But doing the right thing, like going out to the field and working, doesn't necessarily guarantee you success because you could be practicing bad habits. I could get really good at a bad habit, right? I could, like, think of it like this in the gym. You guys have probably all seen this guy before who's doing curls and he's doing way too much weight and he's swinging his arms. But yeah, he's lifting a lot of weight because he's probably been doing that for a long time. But is that going to make his muscles grow? Is that going to get him better? No, because he's practicing bad form. So if we were out to the field, we're doing the right things. You know, you're going to the field every day, 6 a.m., you're getting a workout in before you go to school, but you're doing the wrong things. You're not going to see a result. You're not going to get better on the field. That's the problem with a lot of guys, is that everybody likes to say that they work hard. Nobody is going to sit there and admit that, oh, I don't work hard. Like a college coach asks them, well, what are some strengths about you? Oh, I'm a work ethic guy, coach. I work hard. But what are you actually working on? What are we actually doing, right? And those three things I would say on every single route that you run, from a 3-step slant to a 15-yard comeback. That's what we have to emphasize. You got to make sure that we emphasize my stride, my speed, and my pad level. Don't raise up, don't shorten the stride, and do not slow yourself down. So what are some things that he can think about to fix this type of route? Because believe me, he's not the only one that runs routes like this. I'm going to tell you that right now. He could think about running his routes off of steps. So if you're a guy who, like, let's say, for example, they're not on a turf field right now, which is an excuse a lot of guys, oh, coach, I don't have a field to go work out at. You don't need a field. You need 10 yards of grass. That's all you need. Now, when he's running a route like this, what should I tell him to think about if I were coaching this up? I would say, hey, break off of your third inside step. We're not going to put a cone out there. You're not going to look at some like landmark on the grass. We're going to break off of your third inside step. So you see how his left foot is up. That's not his first inside step. That's his first inside right there. Then he breaks on his second, then he starts to shorten his stride, and then he breaks down on the third. So that is on the third inside step, but he starts to slow himself down right before. I would tell him to, hey, keep your eyes forward. Don't look down. Lengthen your stride, get your knees up, and when you hit that third inside, that's when we drop my pad level and try to get in and out of this break. We shouldn't be running routes slow. We shouldn't be raising up. We shouldn't be chopping my feet. Those are all things that you have to emphasize, and you have to work on drills that build on those things. If you're not doing the correct drills that'll put you into game realistic situations, like I said, you're not going to get any better. Equate it to the guy at the gym, or the guy at the gym that puts like a ton of weight on the bar and he's doing squats and he only goes down like 1/4 of the way. Yeah, it's a lot of weight. Good for you. Your spine's really strong, but are your legs getting strong? Are you getting any benefit out of that? No. So we need to make sure, fellas, in the off season, like I said, your time is valuable. We need to emphasize the little things and the nuances of route running because that's the only way that we get better, especially if you're a guy that can't afford a trainer. You're a guy that can't play for a 7-on-7 team maybe in your area, or maybe you don't know of a trainer and that's all you have is going out and doing the work like this. Those are usually the types of kids that watch these videos. And I appreciate the hell out of those guys. But I say this because I want you guys to get better. Because I know you want to do the right things. I know you want to play college football, but you have to rep the correct things in the offseason. So now, This is an example here of a wide receiver who's running a curl route. Now, I've used this example before. I've talked about this example before, but it kind of builds off the last thing that I was talking about, the details, right? So if you're out working out of the field, you have the luxury of maybe being around a coach, being around a trainer, and you're maybe not getting the most out of it. You need to find a place where you are going to get more out of your training. Right now, again, that may be from some coach in your area. That might be from some coach outside of your area. Maybe you got to go to a camp of some sorts, whatever it might be. But you need to find a place where you're going to get coached and you're going to get coached hard. Nothing bothers me more than a situation like this. So let's play this full speed. So this wide receiver is running a comeback. Now, this is not the greatest, or a curl, excuse me. This is not the greatest form at the break on the curl, right? So he goes up into the break. He's leaning. His chin goes kind of past his knee. He's not really dropping his butt down. He's just kind of bending at his waist and leaning forward. Now, listen, I don't know what the coach said to him after this. I don't know if this is the coach right here, if there's a coach filming right now, or whatever it might be. But this type of break, when you have a lot of speed going into a route and you don't drop your hips, you don't drop your butt down, and you just kind of bend at your waist and lean forward, when you have speed going into a break, at let's say it's like a 12 back to 10 yard curl, you are going to drift forward a ton. And if you got a DB who's in off coverage, you are drifting right into the DB. Now, you see when he started his break maybe about a yard or two short of the cone. So he drifted up to the cone. So to the untrained eye, you might think, oh, well, he got out of the break just fine. No, he started the break way too early. So if you got a DB who's right on his hip, he's just going to drift right into coverage. You got a DB who's in off coverage, he's going to drift right into a DB who's in off coverage. So what he should do to fix this is he needs to make sure that when he breaks, rather than bending at the waist forward, he should be dropping. You guys want to think of it like you got a soda can that's empty and you're trying to crush the can. Your chin needs to go straight to your knee. You need to drop your butt down. Very similar to how you would do a squat, except you're kind of have that forward lean with your pad level. Now, reason why I bring this up, reason why I critique this route is because if you're in a situation where your trainer is just a camera phone guy who's just filming you and you do a rep and he's like, hey, good job, and you're out there for an hour, maybe 45 minutes, and you didn't get any instruction from it, you should probably be looking elsewhere for how you can get better. Because honestly, you probably get more out of these videos than you do from that kind of training. Now, listen, I get it. Maybe he's a guy you've been working with for a long time. I understand. I completely understand. A lot of trainers are good people. They just don't emphasize the details enough for wide receivers to actually get better. There's more nuances than just running. I love it when you get the Instagram guys, the freaking keyboard warriors who will be like, I'll be talking about a route, I'll be talking about a technique, and they're like, oh, well, that's too much, just run the route. It's like, okay, yeah, good luck with that. See how that goes for you, because it's not going to get you anywhere. Getting coached hard, getting coached on the details. Every single rep, over-coaching, there's a thing called over-coaching where guys will coach a little bit too much, and I have to check myself sometimes because I don't want to overwhelm a kid when I talk to him. But when you got a coach who doesn't say anything, it's just, hey, good job. You should be asking that guy, how could I get better? What can I do to get better on that rep? And if he says nothing, then you should probably be looking elsewhere, because you want to get coached hard. To play at the next level, you're going to get coached hard in every single aspect of the game, and that is what you have to make sure that you take home with you in the offseason. Like I said, your time is valuable this time of year. You need to be getting coached. You need to be getting told what you're doing wrong. You don't want guys doing to sugarcoat it for you and tell you that you're just doing a great job on every single rep. You want to be coached hard. What did I do wrong? How can I fix it? And if that guy can't answer that question, or your trainer, whoever it is, and that goes for any aspect, you should probably move on. That's like in school, you have a tutor. Let's say you have an F in math and you go to a tutor and you maybe start getting a couple problems right, but you're still answering questions wrong. You're doing things wrong. You're just not getting it. But they're just like, you'll be fine. That's not what you're paying the tutor for. You're paying the tutor to tell you what you're doing wrong and how you could fix it. And that is what you pay a trainer for. So make sure that if the trainer isn't emphasizing those things, if he doesn't say those things about routes like this, then you should probably find a better situation, you guys. You got to start challenging yourself, because like I said, your time is valuable. And to get that extra 1% in the offseason, you have to hear those things. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys as usual. And again, fellas, if you guys would like a 4-week wide receiver on-field workout schedule with all the drills that wide receivers need to be doing, check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.